So let's talk Disney and it losing its self-governance ability. So let's talk about how Disney first got its self-governance, and so that we can now take it back from the historical standpoint to where we are today. So Disney came to the state of Florida in the 1960s, and Disney went ahead and acquired about 27,000 acres of land under what's arguably false pretenses. They essentially didn't disclose that it was Disney purchasing this property, and they got a really good deal on all of this land. But regardless of if it was misrepresentation or false pretenses, regardless of what it was, Disney acquired this property. Once they acquired the property, they came to the state of Florida and they went before the state of Florida legislator and they said, hey, we have this idea. We're going to go ahead and create this theme park. It's going to create a lot of revenue. And on top of that, we're going to go ahead and create a transit system. We're going to go ahead and help with all of the locality services, and we're going to go and do all of these things to help the state of Florida. But all we are asking for the state of Florida to do is just give us our self-governance, give us the right to do what we need to do to get the stuff done that we need to get done. We govern ourselves. Don't worry about it. So the state of Florida agreed to that. They said, okay, well, we'll go ahead and give you your autonomy. You can govern yourself, do what you need to do so you can get these things done. So to put things in perspective, it has been said that the amount of land that Disney owns is about the size of San Francisco. So that's essentially what we're saying here. Anyhow, they run into two counties. They run in Orange County and Osceola County. And the primary area that people really hear about is the Lake Buena Vista area and the Bay Lake district. These are the districts that are ran with Disney. Now, what's interesting about this is that landowners get to vote into law certain things. Well, if Disney owns a large portion of the land, then they get to vote things in, right? I mean, kind of what that is all about. However, since Disney governs itself, then Disney can do whatever Disney wants. And I know that that sounds really flippant, but that's what self-governing does. We are self-governed ourselves, right? We wake up in the morning, we do what we want, and that's kind of how that works. We do show up to work because we want money, so it's something that we choose to do, right? I mean, I'm just making a statement of fact. So Disney's been self-governed since 1960 something, so 67, I believe. But let's just say 1960s to play it safe. And now we're in 2023, so how did we get to this point? How did we get to where Disney has been self-governing itself for so long, and all of a sudden we're going to take Disney's self-governance away? So in case you are not aware, in the state of Florida, our governor is Ron Dasantis. So apparently, and according to the news outlets that I have read and done research on, the controversy all came to a head because of the law that DeSantis proposed and became law. It was a House bill at one point, and it became law, and it's called the Florida Parental Rights Act. And Disney was very opposed to it. It did not back down from saying that it opposed to it. As a matter of fact, Disney and some other companies and people have dubbed that law the Don't Say Gay law. However, if you actually read the statute, that's not what it says. The actual statute says Florida Parental Rights Act. The reason why it's called that is because it has given the right to the parents to actually intervene with what the school is doing, and they should have full disclosure. So a theme that we're going to see with our governor is full disclosure. According to this controversy and the news outlets, it all came to a head. So apparently, and according to the news outlets, DeSantis got upset about the fact that they were opposing this law that got into effect. So he threatened to take away their self-governance. And this is how we got here. So now that there's a controversy, I want to just interject this. That's not all the controversy, and I don't believe that that's all that was going on here. However, on that note, we'll discuss what does the law do. So the gist of the law is essentially the following. The governor gets to appoint 5 members of a board, and those members have to be approved by the Senate. And then once they're approved, they get to sit on this board and make sure and basically audit what Disney is doing. They want to make sure they're in compliance with the law, that they're doing everything that they need to be doing to be compliant like the rest of us. Anytime we do certain things, we have to go through the appropriate agencies, and those agencies will give us certain restrictions, rules, and requirements, and that is what we're going to be doing. The other issue is that they have been stripped of their special tax exemption that they had. And there's a lot of controversy over that topic and that issue as well. But according to this, they no longer have that special taxation exemption, and therefore it's going to be an issue that the board will get to determine what's going on that end. The other thing that law does is that it terminates Disney's exemption for the state regulatory reviews, such as permitting and licensing. So if Disney wanted to get a liquor license, they would give itself a liquor license. And if it needed permitting to build something, it would give itself permits to do so. So what this law essentially does is says, okay, Disney, you can't just do whatever you want anymore. We're going to now review what you're doing. We're going to make sure that it's compliant and that you're going to be held accountable to the law as the rest of us are. So what are we to expect, I guess is the best way to phrase that, on what's to come in this whole controversy. So as an attorney in Florida, I can see that there will be a lot of litigation. And I think that right now it's premature to actually file any lawsuits because we just haven't seen how the law is going to affect all of us. Now, there's certain people that have already filed lawsuits. They felt that, it would overstep their bounds. The state of Florida has overstepped the bounds. But the reality is, if you come to the state of Florida, you're under Florida jurisdiction. And Florida jurisdiction means that Florida gets to govern what they do in the state of Florida. So there's some issues with those type of lawsuits, but we're going to see more and more litigation. I haven't seen that Disney has filed a lawsuit as of yet, but at that end, again, the law hasn't been in effect long enough for us to see what kind of impact it will actually have. Now, from a legal perspective, I can see that Florida's kind of upset. And why would you be upset? Well, because when Disney came under the guise of doing certain things and made certain promises to the state of Florida, and they've had over 60 years to perform on those promises, and they haven't done them yet, I kind of feel like that would be a breach of contract, or at least you got the benefit of this bargain and I haven't benefited from it. So the state of Florida is standing up for the fact that, okay, we're going to have some accountability. Finally, I think full disclosure is important. The fact that Disney got to self-govern was very problematic in the fact that we didn't understand what was going on over there because we didn't have rights to understand that. We didn't get exposure. We didn't get disclosures. We didn't get the public records. I mean, we're a sunshine state, right? And not only because of the sun, but because of public records. We have all these public records. Everything goes into public record. We need to see everything. Your business in public record, your ownership of your property is public record. How much you paid in taxes is all public record. So Disney was exempt from that because they got to govern themselves. So I think that when we start seeing full disclosure, then is when we can see how this is going to affect us. Because right now there's a controversy about taxation, there's a controversy about permitting, about building. We don't know all of the impact of it because we haven't seen the numbers. And until we see the numbers and we get an audit and we actually get to see full disclosure of what's happening, I don't think we can make a determination whether it'll be financially beneficial or not. So all of these news outlets that are making these assumptions that, taxation is going to be higher, we don't know that. And I think that if we base taxation, and I'm talking just property taxes alone, you base it on the value of the property. And if Disney owns a majority of the property, then who's going to bear that cost? Well, the property owner, right? Which would be Disney. So that's my conclusion on that taxation issue. But if you're a Floridian or you're trying to come to Florida and become a Floridian, we have a lot of controversy. But Just because there is controversy doesn't mean that things cannot be changed or modified. That is the beauty of law. Law always evolves. You have a law, and then we start trying it out, and we start seeing that there's problems, and we can reform it. We can restructure it, and we can redo it, re-amend it. We can do all types of things. So just because this is law right now, and this is yet to be seen what's going to happen, doesn't mean this is going to be the end-all be-all. However, if we discover that Disney was doing things, then we'll be able to see that now with full disclosure. My position on it is wait and see, because what tells me facts is what tells me what I should think about, like how this should conclude, where my logic should go. So until I am able to see numbers and see how this is going to actually impact Disney, I don't think that we should worry about it right now. Disney's not struggling for funds at any means. So I think Disney has taken the position that, that's not going to litigate this issue. It's going to be okay. That's from the news outlets that I've read, that Disney doesn't have a position to object to it. And pass the law, that's fine. So at this point, we're going to see what happens with Disney and its self-governing. Is it a good idea or is it a bad idea? If you like this content, please like and follow.